Today, I'm going to talk about the federal job cuts initiated by Mr. Elon Musk and how it's going to affect the Washington, D.C. housing market, as well as the Northern Virginia housing market. Let's dive deep. Some of you do not know. I was in the U.S. Army for 20 years, active duty from 1980 to 2002, and I was stationed at many locations, of course, throughout the stateside and overseas. And coincidentally, I was stationed in 1987 to 1989 in Washington, D.C., coincidentally. But being part of the military, we always hear about because we're part of the federal government, of course. As a soldier, you are part of the federal government, you are civil service. And we are part of the Department of Defense military. Of course, Department of Defense, we have a lot of federal employees as well, civilians who are supporting the military and the various governmental agencies, Department of Veteran Affairs, and you have HUD, U.S. Department of Education, CIA, FBI, and of course the federal contractors, the high-tech companies that supports the federal government. They have the civilian employees. The federal government itself, civilians, they have GS level. A general meaning is a pay grade. GS1 is an entry-level employee, and of course, all the way up to GS15. If you are the head of the FBI, you are GS15 with 20-something years of experience, and you get paid based on a pay scale. Similar to military, you're enlisted E1 to E9. You get paid accordingly. If you're officer, you're O1 lieutenant all the way to O10 general, and you get paid on a sliding up scale. So I'm here to talk about, suffice to say, I have some indirect experience based on my military service, and we hear and we see the RIF, the reduction in force, RIF, that comes about from time to time, reduction of federal service, reduction of the military, and the elimination of various military installations over the decades. I'm part of that process. I do have a lot of recollection. Because I lived it 20 years of military service. We get involved indirectly in this kind of matters. We get a lot of news information. Of course, I've been long retired since then, since 2002. Of course, since 2002, I've been a real estate investor. If you're on this channel for the first time, you don't know me. I am the owner of a real estate investment club. That means I have several thousand members, network of members of real estate investors, which I guide and mentor and help people buy income properties, cash flow income properties, turnkey all over the country for many years. And so I help a lot of people achieve wealth. But today I'm going to talk about something that everybody's talking about. So I just give you my perspective. This article, I get this article every single day by being connected indirectly to the military and federal government. I get this military.com daily article. And keep me abreast. I still have a lot of passion and connection. Just dive deep. I know a lot of people, the news media, the social media, Instagram and YouTube videos, everybody talking about the firing, the comprehensive look at the DOGE, headed by Elon Musk, firings and layoffs so far. Of course, there are a lot of mainstream media are talking about it, but this military.com article is actually, my opinion, is it really gets connected. We have the more inside sources about the federal government and the military from this article that I watch every single morning. So suffice to say, I think this article and the content I'm going to share with you are from a very credible source. Unlike the news media, sometimes they overblown or mislead things. Oh, one more thing, if you stay tuned toward the back end of this video, I'm going to talk about the DC housing market and Northern Virginia housing market as well. So to validate, to determine whether we are seeing mass exodus, whether we are seeing some distress in the housing market in Washington, D.C. as a result of these thousands of layoffs that are occurring. So stay tuned. So those are the data which you need to know out there to get the factual information. And instead of the doom and gloom, I call it, a news media that have over-sensationalized all this negativity around what's going on and how housing going to crash, whatever. I'm just going to report the factual information based on the credible source I'm sharing with you, as well as my own unique experience as a real estate investor and also as an ex-military, ex-federal government employee, for that matter. Let me go over the first article, the first paragraph on this military.com article. As you can see, it says right here, the first paragraph says thousands of federal government employees have been shown the door in the first month of President Donald Trump's administration, as the White House and its Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk, of all people, fire both new and career workers. Tell agency leaders to plan for large-scale reductions in force. Like I said, RIF. I hear this word a lot when I was in active duty. RIF, RIF, like a dog riffing, barking, and freeze trillions of dollars in federal grant funds. There's some ripple effects, not necessarily the housing market itself, but I'll dive deeper into it. So pay attention, stay tuned. So I got some very interesting data, which a lot of you have or not probably not been aware of from the current mainstream media reporting of this particular event. Let me go on. It is affecting more than just the national capital region, home to about 20% of the 2.4 million members of the civilian federal workforce, which does not include military personnel and postal workers. More than 80% of that workforce lives outside the Washington area. So that alone tells you only 20% of the layoff workers live around the metro of Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia. By the way, Northern Virginia is right across the Potomac River, as you may or may not know. In fact, Northern Virginia is a Fairfax County. It consists of Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, Vienna, Manassas, and a few others. It's a very large county across the river, and a lot of federal employees, a lot of military are stationed in Northern Virginia across the river from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not that large compared to Fairfax County. Washington, D.C., don't quote me, but it has maybe 300,000 people living in the metro Washington, D.C. itself. But Northern Virginia across the river, and it's like 10 times bigger. It's like have more than 1 million people. I'm just guessing, but it's huge. When I was stationed there, when I was stationed in Washington, D.C., when I was in Army active duty, I live in Arlington, Virginia, across the Potomac. It's only, believe it or not, it's only 10 miles away. I catch the subway. The metro is a quick ride from my office in Washington, D.C. to my home in Arlington, Virginia, which is a brief. Right off the bat, people think, oh, all the workers that got laid off live in Washington, D.C. No, not true at all. And one more thing before I forget. I know that maybe around 10,000 federal employees were laid off in the past few weeks, but most of them are probationary employees. They are GS2, GS3, making minimum wages. So if you, and the rest, by the way, I don't know what percentage of the 10,000 or so laid off workers, federal workers, the rest of them, maybe 20% of those got laid off, they probably took early retirement. They got some compensation. So they are either voluntary or involuntarily early retirement. So those people are good to go. They have a pension and they're fine. But the probation employees, most of them that got laid off, like I said, they're entry level, making very minimal wages. So with that said, you think they own homes in the area where they work? Probably not. I would say 80% of the layoff workers does not even own a home. They are renters. So that by itself may not affect the overall housing market in Washington, D.C. or the Fairfax County, Northern Virginia. So keep that in mind. I'm just giving you some very crucial information. Let's continue. Like I said, defer resignation or propose. See, this is right. That's what it says. A fair percentage of them get some kind of an early retirement deferred compensation package. According to the Office of Personnel Management, about 75,000 federal employees had accepted the offer. 75,000. So a lot of them, like I said, are retiree or early retirees. They got some early compensation to leave. And the rest, probationary employee layoffs. 20,000 federal employees have less than a year on a job as of March 2024. So there's a lot of entry-level employees out there. By the way, nationwide, there are like 140 million people who are working. So think about that. And out of 140 something million people working in the labor market, a mere 10,000 or so of federal employees are laid off. Do the math. You form your own conclusion. 10,000 people divided by 150 million jobs out there in nationwide. You have to look at the perspective. Now, the various departments are affected among the laid off people. Department of Veteran Affairs, which I'm part of because of my ex-military. Department of Education, they laid off few people. The Energy Department laid off a couple of hundred people. The HUD services, maybe laid off a couple of hundred people here and there. So far, and I know IRS, they are laying off thousands of workers during the height of the tax season right now. So think about that. And of course, National Park Service all over the country, they laid off a few people here and there. That total to about 1,000. And I'm not going to go anymore. A lot of various departments have their own small share of several people being laid off. Again, it's just you have to understand what's going on. With that in mind, let me go through let's go over the Washington, D.C. housing market data as provided by Redfin. A lot of you, I've been doing a lot of housing data, weekly housing data, using Redfin as a source. Without further ado, let's determine what's going on in Washington, D.C. housing market. All right, real brief. New listings. Look at the light green color is 2025, which is right here, February 2025. Nothing to brag about. So similar new listings compared to prior 4 years. And then you look at, let's look at the median sales price. That's important to see how prices go happening. So median sales price in Washington, D.C. metro area right now is $297,000. Median sales price, 14% year over year. Nothing unique about the last 4 years of median sales price. Active listings, there's 50% more active listings than the prior year. So that's a little bit interesting. 169 listings on sale. Like I said, Washington, D.C. is not a large metro. It's quite small. Then let's go over the month of supply. Month of supply weeks, 38 weeks, which is divided by 4. So we're talking like 4 weeks equals each month. So you have divided by 4, 8 months supply inventory. Pretty much a buyer's market, just a little bit. Again, it's a small metro. It's not very big. So very hard to judge the data. And let's see, average sales to list ratio. Homes are sold at 94% from the list price, which is 6% below the original list price was the final sales price. This temporary data when you're watching DC area is inconclusive. It's too early to determine. That's all I have to say. Now, a better picture would be, let me share with you a Northern Virginia housing market. Fairfax County, like I said, is a huge housing market across the river from Washington, D.C., across the Potomac, and it has more than 1 million people. And the majority of the active duty and the federal workers, believe it or not, live in Fairfax County and they commute to work. And of course, some live in Maryland, right, across the Beltway, right, over the Washington, D.C. Beltway. They commute from other suburbs of Maryland, and they could be from maybe even Delaware or New Jersey or whatever, I don't know. But Fairfax County, let's go over the housing market. New listings in Fairfax County, the light green, which is right here, 192 new listings year over year, which is 5.9% less than the new listings year over year. And let's look at pending sales. In alignment, a little bit 10% less than prior year's pending sales year to date, February 16, 2025. Nothing too revealing, so pretty consistent year over year for the past, since 22, 23, 24, 25. This is a 4-year trend by Redfin. So let's go over median sales price. The median sales price is up year over year, 12% over last year at $749,000 median sales price for homes that are sold the first 2 months of this year. In fact, the housing price, median sales price is higher than last year, which is on the blue right here. Last year, 609, right? This year is 749. So it's a 12% increase of median sales price in Northern Virginia, Fairfax County, across the river from DC. Look at that. And of course, active listings. Here we go. Again, we have 1,140 active listings, which is a mere 4.88% higher than the previous year. Pretty unassuming information so far. And now let's look at months of supply. You may not know, 4 to 6 months supply of inventory, housing inventory, is a balanced market. We have equal amount of buyers versus equal amount of sellers. So if you have less than 4 months of supply of inventory, it is a seller's market. That means there are more buyers than sellers. There are more demand than supply. So with that in mind, let's go over this all important metric, months of supply. Here we go. Months of supply is in 8.6. So 4 weeks equal to month. 4 weeks divided by 8.6. We have what? Barely 2 months. 2 months supply of inventory. So this means there are massive shortage of inventory for sale. 2.6 months supply of inventory is way below the normal market of 4 to 6 months supply of inventory. So basically, there are more buyers than there are sellers. There are less homes out there for more demand. So that will drive prices up, which is, so 2.6% to me is extreme low. It's a lack of homes, too much demand, and it will make create a sort of a bidding war, multiple offer situation in this, as we talk about Fairfax County. So how's that for information? You did not know that, did you? All right. And finally, average sale to list price. Average sales to list price is 1.01. So the final sales price is 1 percentage point higher than the list price. So that means homes are being sold in Fairfax County, Northern Virginia, being sold higher than the asking price. So tells you is a very robust housing market in Northern Virginia. At the end of the day, as I conclude this, I know whenever any kind of significant event occur within period, it takes time to things to play out. It's too early to tell. I already told you at the beginning of the video, a lot of those employees that are being fired are probationary employees. They are entry-level workers, college graduates, people in age 22 to 24 at the lowest level, or the GS in general service level, GS3, GS4, making very minimal wage. They don't own houses. They are renters. And I just thought I'll show you the DC housing market as of right now and the Northern Virginia housing market, just to give you a high level that, I don't know. I don't see any kind of panic. I don't see any kind of distress. The data, I don't care what news media anybody are watching out there. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom YouTube videos out there for the sake of clickbait, and people, those videos, those organizations, is all clickbait. Everybody want to report doom and gloom. If the world coming to an end, look, this is just happening. During my military service, back in the days, these kind of things happen. The federal government, this reduction in force happens, but people are very resilient. Some people they'll find another job. It's not the end of the world. There's plenty of jobs out there. Civilian world, the military world, federal government, whatever. So hope if you have seen other videos about this topic, maybe my topic and my content are a little bit different perspective. I think I believe I have added more value to your understanding of what's going on in this federal firing situation. But with that said, if you received any kind of value whatsoever from this video, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And better yet, also, in addition, put your email at the bottom of my description on my website below, so you can become a free member of my real estate investment network. Therefore, by being a free member, you can receive weekly free information about real estate investment opportunities and also general housing news and whatever. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.